Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Board Game Hubby.
I'm Board Game Wife.
And today we will be reviewing 3 games from Singapore. These 3 games are part of a nature trilogy. They are released by Origame and they're all designed by Daryl Chow. And they were provided to us as review copies. And so we've played them all several times and we're now ready to review them. The 3 games are Reef Rescue, Oh My Orchids and Rainforest City. And we will go through them in order of smallest to biggest. Although, as you can see, they're all quite small, on the smaller side. So, the first game, Reef Rescue. Reef Rescue is a, as you can see, ocean-themed game, a marine biology-themed game, where you're diving into the ocean in a memory-adjacent game. So it's a twist on the traditional memory game with some push-your-luck elements. You have 40 tiles and they're face down, and under these tiles are fish, small fish, bigger fish, coral reefs, and also trash. There's trash in the ocean. And so basically you're trying to get preferably large fish and reef, those are worth the most points. Fish are worth some points, and you're trying to avoid the trash. Sometimes your turn will end early if you pick up trash, hence the push your luck element. Because unlike regular memory games, you don't necessarily need to create sets like the small fish. You can just pick those up.
Yeah, so they are much easier to collect than those with worth more points.
Indeed. Because with the coral reef, you need to find the exact 3 that are in the grid.
In one turn.
In one turn. With the large fish, you need to, like a regular memory game, you need to find the 2 matching pieces, right? And so the final twist of this game is on your turn, you have 2 ability tiles. And those will allow you to take different sorts of actions to either manipulate the grid or look for the stuff you're trying to collect in the grid.
Specific kind of fish.
Yeah. So
and they are 2-sided.
They're 2-sided, they're double-sided. So you only have 2 actions available to you on your turn, but then when you use the action, you flip it and you have another action on your next turn.
Yeah.
So just to name a couple of them, one of the actions is picking up 3 tiles. Looking at them and then maybe rearranging them in the grid. So you have some information and your opponent doesn't. Another action may be to say, I'm going to look for large fish on this turn. And then you can pick up 3 tiles. But if you pick up a trash, then you end your turn early. So there's also a question of, do I want to keep looking for tiles if I've already gathered something I like? So that's basically a game. That's not all the rules. You keep playing until there's like 10 tiles or so left. So that's the game, a brief overview at least. So, what did you like most about the game?
Oh, okay. What did I like the most? I feel like I can go 2 directions, and I'm gonna.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
One of the 2 things I like the most. 2 directions. I can swim. One part is the theme and the trash in the ocean. I love that you have a board game that is also critical towards society, that gives you something to think about. I feel like that is often. It is rare that you also get something to think about afterwards. I do like to read a lot of books, and I love it when there's something more to it I can bring to my life. And that's not common in games, so I really like that part, that it gives me something to think about. The other part that is more gameplay related is that I love that it's such a simple game that when you tell people you're gonna play a memory game, they're like, okay, a children's game. But they are very successful in making it both complex and strategic with very, very meaningful decisions. So it just gives so much compared to what you were thinking you were gonna get, especially also in such a small box. It looks like a regular memory game in the box.
Yeah, so regarding the box, it is a very small portable box, which is a huge plus for me. It does require some table space though, so it can sort of
you can't play it on the airplane.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You can play it at the vacation location.
Yeah, if you have a table there.
Yeah.
For it.
Or floor, just.
Yeah, I guess. My thoughts are, or my positive thoughts on the game are also, I like the twist it has on the genre of memory. Spoiler alert, I don't like memory games, but this makes it at least equal parts memory and push your luck. And I really like the ability tiles. Like that's what drew me to the game. like we asked to review these games, by the way, so they weren't sent to us randomly. We sought them out because we thought they looked nice and interesting, right? And so this game also caught my eye because of the ability tiles. The idea of, okay, I'm picking up these 3 tiles, I'm looking at them, and then, I'm going to put them in a row. And then there's another action game, which is picking up 3 tiles in a row. So Catherine's thinking like, is he setting himself up for a nice turn, or is he luring me into a trap? Right, so that mind game, there's more of a mind game. There's not a mind game in regular memory, right?
No.
That's
No,
not
there's
part of it. There's only my own mind game of, oh, I'm going to screw this up, I'm going to screw this up, right? But so that aspect here, I really like. And also the fact that you have these 2 choices, but sometimes you might want to take the suboptimal choice so that you have the other side available to you on the next turn, right? They're small tactical decisions, but they're interesting. I actually felt like I made interesting decisions each turn, or my brain was engaged each turn.
Yeah.
That does lead me on to the negatives, which is it is a memory game. And so this sort of game has a natural ceiling for me, because sometimes you're just going to have turns where you're basically teeing up the other person for a nice turn. Like, oh, I revealed the other big fish here, and we all know the other fish is over there in that corner. So good job, Michael. You're giving Catherine a nice turn. I don't necessarily like that in like ordinary memory, and it does also happen here, right? Like you feel like not only did you waste a turn, you provided the other person an easy, nice turn, and then maybe you can just do the same again. Like you can get unlucky that way. So although there are all these other aspects added to the game, it doesn't remove the fact that it is in large parts a memory game, and if you have a bad memory, you are going to do poorly in this game, or tend to do poorly at least. And
there is a skill involved in being good at this game.
There's a skill involved, and I guess there are in a lot of board games. But for me, I don't personally. So this is my personal opinion. I don't personally like the memory part being a big aspect because, like I said, I'm engaged throughout the game. But a lot of the times it's like I'm engaged in a way I don't want to be engaged. Like I don't want to use all my mental faculties on remembering stuff. Because when I don't remember it, I just feel stupid. Like I just feel like
I hate that feeling in the game.
Yeah. So
I kind of disagree with your negative, and to be honest, I don't really have any negatives for the game. So I don't completely disagree because sometimes you will set the other person up, but when you can flip 5 tiles looking for a certain fish, it's not very likely that you will flip that one piece between the 40 that will fit with one that the other person wants, because you do know where the fish are very quickly. Maybe the first 5 turns you don't know where anything is, but it's equal. He flips something that I can take advantage of, and I do the same. And I feel like a lot of board games have this element, a bit of luck. Push your luck.
Sure,
so this is also a part of it. So I disagree with it being negative, but I'm not disagreeing with it happening sometimes. But I feel like it's an equal playing field in that. And I personally do love memory games. So even though I lost to this person who has a very terrible short-term memory and long-term.
She's talking about me, by the way.
I'm not that harshly, but it's not his forte.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the game a lot. Can I give it my rating?
Yeah.
So I have given it an 8 out of 10. It's going to be a travel favorite, all-time favorite. I want to bring it on all the vacations. I do want to play it at home also, and I wanted to introduce it to people immediately after playing it. But there is a natural ceiling because it's not too complex. There's parts of it that just can't, in this genre, be elevated to a 10 for me. But it's the top tier for that type of game.
This is the best memory game that I've played, but it still, for me, maxes out at a 6.
Yeah,
it's
fair
a
enough.
very decent game that I would play if someone really wanted to play it.
Yeah, so since I really want to play it and we're bringing it on vacation, you are going to play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think about the game. It has a lot of memory aspects which I don't particularly enjoy. I enjoy the twists. I wanted to try this out because I like having a lot of different games. So I wanted to have that. I wanted to have the memory game in my collection, and I thought this was the best bet at it. And maybe from what I know, it is the best bet right now, but it doesn't quite reach into a game that I would pull for myself. So a 6 out of 10. I think a lot of families will get enjoyment out of this. All right, so moving on to the next game, Oh My Orchids. Oh My Orchids is a flower orchid themed set collection type of game. It's sort of similar to Splendor in the way that you have cards laid out that are different seeds that you can pick up, and then you can use those seeds to pay for, collect, take orchids, flowers. And you have so you have the row of those seeds, and you can pick up all the seeds of the same color or of the same type. And then you can pay for either regular type of flowers, so there's like, I don't know, 7 different types. And then you have the top row of the unique flowers, which are often worth more points and more difficult to collect. And like the way you collect them is that it maybe says you need 6 of the same color, or you need 4 different types, etc., etc., stuff like that. And that's basically the game. There's one twist, which is that if you ever collect more than 7 seeds in your hand, I believe it's 7, you have to discard one of them as like...
you have to trash it.
You have to trash it, which is a minus point at the end of the game. Yeah. So you have like a forced hand size that way.
I can go first.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy the theme. It shines less through than it does with Reef, but again... It's for nature lovers, plant lovers, that is me. I feel like I get to know something about the flowers and the names, and I always enjoy getting some knowledge from a game. And I feel like it is a comment again on society and spending habits that if you gather too much, you need to trash something. So you're creating a surplus that is not needed. Yeah. And I really do enjoy that.
Yeah, I more so than Reef Rescue, I enjoy the artwork in this one. I also like Reef Rescue, to be clear, but I like this even more. I think it looks very beautiful.
It does.
I was very much looking forward to playing this after seeing pictures of it. I'm totally part of the nature theme board games craze. And so, yeah, it looks stunning on the table, beautiful artwork. It has a nice cadence to it, like a simple, pleasant gateway type of game that can play pretty fast. You just ping up the seeds and, okay, I'll pay for this flower. I wouldn't say, you shouldn't be having too much analysis paralysis in this one.
No,
I mean,
that would ruin the game. It's not supposed to be
tough decisions. It's supposed to be a fast game. We tried both the faster games and the not so fast games, and definitely suffers from being a fast game, because this is meant definitely to be a filler type of game. Yeah. And I like it in that vein. My dislikes of the game. One, unlike Splendor, there isn't an engine here, which in itself isn't a negative, but it doesn't... So I'm looking for it to add something, or to add have some replay ability. And I'm not sure it has it. I was also looking forward to the twist of only being able to have 7 different seeds. And usually in our games, you would have 1, 2 or 0 minus points. Yeah. Like, it wasn't a big swing in that way. It was just a forced hand size, because the point swings in the cards aren't big enough for you to waste an entire turn picking up seeds again and dumping some seeds to then earn 2 more points the next turn. Like, no. I don't think mathematically that would work out generally, so it wasn't a decision that we often took. No. So it didn't really feature as a big part of the game. So it becomes a bit of a regular set collection game. Like, what I mean to say is I've seen this game before. Yeah. It's a tactical reactive game, and you can definitely block each other, which is nice. But it doesn't ever become more than that. And I think I just wanted more. I wanted there to be an interesting twist to it, or an additional goal for everyone to compete over. If there were other goals to compete for, that would definitely change it up a bit. I just wanted that one extra layer, because it is competing with several other games in this genre. So that would be my negative. Yeah, I feel like you read my notes, just because that is what they are exactly saying. Like, it is like Splendor, but without the engine. Yeah. So you don't have the feeling of
accomplishing something throughout the game. It's just per turn you accomplish something. And again, I'm missing more. I'm missing like a pull forward or a heightened complexity throughout the game, which is not there. That is also my negative, that you can easily get around trashing, and it's usually worth it not to trash. But maybe that is the lesson to keep, that it's not worth trashing. I don't know.
Yeah. So your rating?
I have given this a 6 out of 10. Again, I would play it if someone suggested, but it's not something I would go to the shelf and say, hey, let's play this game.
Yeah. I was very much in between two scores here, 6.5 and 7, and I think I'm coming down on it a bit harshly, only because I am a reviewer, and I have played a lot of games, so I'm looking through through that lens, which is there are other games in the genre that I would rather play and would rather recommend, as harsh as that sounds. But in a vacuum, this is a good game that I think a lot of families would enjoy. And if this were part of a collection of 10 or 20 games like most families would have, right? I think they would be perfectly happy with this.
Me too.
So in a way, I do recommend it, but it doesn't reach my standard of pulling it off the shelf and introducing it over other games.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that would love this game. Yeah. When you're not a hardcore gamer, it's actually nice that it's not an engine, because you are not punished for earlier decisions.
Yeah.
So it's also about what do you want from a game.
Yeah.
And we want something a bit more complex.
Yeah, not even all the time, but even with an added layer, I still think this would be a simple game with more replay value. So I'm coming in at a 6.5. I don't find myself wanting to go back to it, because I don't think there's much there in terms of the decision space. Like, it's very, well, I'm obviously going to take these seeds because that way I get the most seeds to earn that flower. Like, there's not tough decisions or interesting enough decisions, but it's pleasant.
It is pleasant.
And beautiful. So that does a lot and easy to introduce to people. So 6.5 for me. All right, last game on the list for today is Rainforest City, another nature-themed game, this time taking place in the rainforest. So in this game, you're laying out cards, creating your own rainforest with terrain cards and with animals and flora and fauna to put on top of those terrain cards, like they each belong to different places, right? And so the general idea of the game is, one, you're trying to achieve certain objectives, at least if you're playing with the advanced mode, right? So you want to create certain sizes of territory, you want to have certain amounts of flora in different places, stuff like that, right? Also, you want to place these flora and fauna tokens in the best way possible to earn the most points. And the general gist there is, if you have like a 1, 2, and 3 tokens, right? And if you ever want to score the 3 tokens that are worth 3 points, you need to support it. So it's like a take on the ecosystem, right? And so to support a 3 token, you need to have a 2 token. To support a 2 token, you need to have a 1 token.
Yeah.
And if you have all those 3, it's 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, so 6 points. If you have a 1 and 3, and you don't have the 2, then you score 1 point because you're not supporting the 3, right?
Your carnivores can't eat if there's no animals to eat, and the herbivores can't eat if there's no floral to eat.
Yeah.
So that's the gist.
There's a lot more to the game, but we might touch on that as we review it now, right? Do you want to start or should I start?
Yeah, my positive, I feel like there's lots of interesting decisions in this one, because there's so many different areas that you want to maximize: the terrain, the other goals, the flora, the fauna, and how to mix and match the cards that you are getting, and how to at the same time make sure that the opponent don't get the cards that they need. So there's so many decisions that are taken each turn that are important and interesting. I really like that about the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a game rich with meaningful, punchy, meaty decisions. It's like, for me, it's like it's the midpoint between like a pleasant filler and a meaty, brainy type of game. Like, it hits the I don't know, the equilibrium between that. I don't know if that's a thing, right? So what I mean by that is on your turn, you have this dial in the middle, and you can turn it to if it's my turn, I can point it somewhere and take the 2 cards there. And then everyone else gets to pick 1 card from the other displays.
Where their arrow points to.
Exactly. So on each turn, everyone is playing. But when it's your turn, you get to place 2 cards, or use 2 cards, and everyone else gets to place 1 card. So everyone's playing all the time. It's 12 turns, so in essence, it could be a very fast game, but there's some analysis paralysis that can occur in this game, right? But even when it's not my turn, and I'm being forced to select between 2 cards, and I can only select 1 card, even then, I almost always find that it's an interesting decision. Because you can either place out the territory and where do I want it to go, and because there might be a house on it which can score minus points if it's next to stuff, or it might remove something that I want to keep because you have to do that sometimes.
And again, you can end up having to trash flora or fauna that gives you minus point if you kill it off in nature. Indeed. That is also a big component in this game, that you want to keep everything alive. And how do I do that?
Yeah, so again, the trash theme is apparent in all 3 games. It's a red thread.
Or the Save the Planet theme. I feel like that's a better theme than trash theme.
Indeed. And so another point in this game is, so the way you place most of the flora and fauna is that you have to look at put the card on top of your territory, like visualize it on top of territory, and you have to match the forest types into the forest that you've already placed down, and the other types into like the water types into the water that you place down. So you have to like match it to the territory you've already placed, and that's when, if you can't match it, it gets trashed, right?
Yeah, or if it's on top of something else. Yeah. So if you place a dolphin on top of a fish, the fish is killed because
exactly
eaten.
And so it's a like the visualizing exercise, a very big part of the game. And I just love that puzzle. I love that I'm always faced with meaningful decisions.
Me too.
Yeah.
And you have a turn each turn. I forgot that, but that you are in the game the entire time. I really do enjoy that as well, because if that was not the case, you might be sitting around waiting a lot, especially if there was more players in the game. Yeah. And I always hate waiting, especially when it's not influencing my turn. Yeah. My negatives, I feel like it's difficult to get a great overview. I feel like the puzzle is hard in a way it shouldn't be hard. Yeah. Some of the terrain looks like each other, and then the background on the flora and fauna is matched with the terrain, but is it a yellowish green or a greenish yellow? And having to be aware of that makes the puzzle difficult in a way it shouldn't be difficult. You actually made a mistake last time we played, where you ended up playing an animal in an area it wouldn't. So instead of gaining 3 points, you lost 1 point. And that is an annoying thing in the game. I feel like this game would be so much more fun if you played it more often than we have done. We have played it a couple of times, but with
periods of time in between.
So you are in the flow of which animals goes into which terrain. That would greatly improve it. And I have taken that into consideration, that I feel like the potential is more than what is annoying about moving it around. But also how every time we needed to refill the board, we had to look on the other side. Even though they made them different, it was not intuitive which card fitted in which place when we refilled the board after each turn.
Yeah.
It's a bit fiddly in a way it shouldn't be.
So my 2 main negatives are, one, like I said, it's a visualizing exercise sometimes. And we did sometimes just take the card and just try to see, if I did take this card, how would it fit into my puzzle, right? I try not to do that as much, because I feel like, you're not supposed to do that, but then I'm just using more time doing it in my mind. So we're playing the game for a longer time when I could just quickly see, oh, okay, that's so I don't that's distracting from the game experience from me. Like I would want that to not be a factor, but it is just like that's just how the game works because you have to visualize it. It is more difficult for me to at least do it just looking at the card.
But I'm usually excellent at visualizing.
Yeah.
And I struggle in this game.
Yeah. The other negative for me is that, and this is more so just a plea for more. For me, this is a type of game that if it was a mobile app, I would be playing it all the time.
Yeah.
Or if it was on Board Game Arena, because it's this game of like, oh, I want to beat my highest score. I want to, and I think you can even play it solo, right? We haven't done that. It would make sense that you could play it solo because although there is interaction, in a way you're just trying to maximize your score, right? And so it fills that niche for me, that need for me of making this nice puzzle fit together, increasing my score. So I don't know if it's more objectives or a different type of objective or something, but that's just to like make it really sing for me. I'm coming in at an 8.5. Yeah, I think this is a great game. I love it. I think it's a very streamlined, meaty puzzle type of game. And it comes to it at an 8.5 because when I view it through that lens of it just being that, like that comfort game, like a comfort meaty game, I love it. So I have to say to myself, okay, it's not doing what I maybe initially wanted to do, but it's like if I wanted a comfort game, it's doing that. Yeah.
I maybe sounded a bit harsh in my review, but I have actually given it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Which for me, I would recommend it. I would recommend other people to play it, and I want to play it again, and I could actually find it on the shelf and let's play this game. So a lot of the interesting decisions are really pulling it up from what is fiddly in it, and I get around the fiddly part. I make it work. So I really do enjoy and recommend this game as well.
I'm surprised it's that low for you. I definitely thought
that. 7 is a great score
it's a good rating, and I mean it's a good average we're giving it, right? I just figured that this was more of a you game than me game.
But the animals and the flora and the tiling,
why would I think
what?
But so anyways, that's those are reviews of these 3 games. We hoped you enjoyed the content, that it was useful.
And like, subscribe,
all that good
follow,
stuff. And see you subscribe. On... Oh, what?
I'm rambling.
See you on the next one.
Bye.